G'day guys, and welcome back to Too Many Projects Not Enough Time. I'm Andrew. Here we are today, working at home on patience. I know many a time I've said I'm not really into naming all my stuff. Apparently I am, so I admit I'm now naming buildings and cars and trucks. And here we are today on the 101, and she has a name now, certainly earned her name and taught me a lot of this, and she's called Patience. It's taken me quite some time to get registration insurance on her, and I am driving her around now for the last week. It's been a lot of fun, but driving around for the last week, after sitting for 30 years in the field, things are starting to leak. So, actually probably 2 weeks now I've had registration. Anyway, been driving around here and there, locally, not stressing it too much. I think 90 kilometers an hour for a very brief time is the quickest I've got it to. There's lots of loud noises. I have the generator, actually I have my spare generator in getting rebuilt because the bearings are super noisy. When I get that back, I'll swap it over, put this one in, get its bearings replaced, then I have a spare because this is a 24 volt rig. So today, what we're doing today is we're going to be replacing the clutch and brake pots, as well as a new master cylinder. Master cylinder has started to leak a little, and the pots here, because they sit way up here in the sun, have become UV brittle, and there you go, falling apart. It's time for new pots. Now what I have found on 101parts.com for 101s, they have these nifty guys, which are aluminium pots. They're nifty little guys. Apparently they all install exactly like factory. Everything's in exactly the same positions. Aluminum caps or aluminium caps, whichever way you want to go. These are nifty things. So we're going to be putting these in today, and then hopefully I'll never have to replace these again ever, including the master cylinder, and then we'll bleed it. So stick around, see how we're going to attempt to bleed all four, just gravity fed, and see how I do that and see how it works out. If we have to employ a different method to get all the brakes bled. Thanks for coming along, keep watching. We're going to start by removing the steering wheel, because that'll just give way more access to everything we need to here without ducking around it. I find working up here a lot easier and better. While we have the steering wheel off, yesterday morning it was a cooler, damp morning. I've had the sides rolled up, so everything inside was damp, and lots of chunks of grime from everyone else's hands and stuff, and possibly the finish on here was coming off in chunks on my hands. So I'm going to attempt, maybe in another video, to clean the wheel before I put it back on, so we don't have those chunks on a damp morning. I also need to, maybe in a separate video, depending on how long the brake ones last, have to replace the lights in the back of the gauges. They do not work. I also need to figure out lots of stuff, waking her out of a 30-year slumber. The wipers used to work when I first got her home. Now the wipers don't turn on, so I'm not sure if it's the switch or a fuse or a loose wire or the motor. Lots of little stuff. Also coming up, we'll be putting some sound deadening on the dog box in the middle and over the transmission to try and keep a lot of the noise down. I'll just make it a little more pleasant, because this generator is really loud. Alright, thanks for coming along. You know what to do. Appreciate it. Hit and subscribe. First we'll get the wheel off, and then we'll change the pots out, try not to leak fluid everywhere, wrecking all the paintwork. And then we'll change this. I'll try and video as much of it as I can, and then we'll do some bleeding. Oh, and if you're wondering, Ivy, when I get back from the lake next, which is next weekend, I go up to the lake for a week, and you can watch those videos up at the lake, exploring abandoned buildings and abandoned old 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever cars I find in the bush, as well as rebuilding the log cabin. You can watch that on my other channel, which is Camp Tinny, listed below in the description. And you can catch up on that stuff too. So I haven't been doing nothing. I've been very, very busy. And now fall is definitely here, and I'm almost done because of the weather with the projects at the lake, and we'll be really getting into Ivy again, because the 101 will go to the lake for the winter in about a month. Once I'm done a bunch of stuff here, and then she'll hibernate up at the lake till next spring. It's a much drier climate up there, far better than down here. And then we'll really get back into Ivy over the winter here, and I really want to have her running by Christmas. That'd be awesome. Let's figure out how to get these pots out. Alright guys, I'm going to start with the clutch. The clutch fluid was pretty ugly in that pot reservoir, so to drain most of it out, we disconnected here at the clutch slave cylinder, and then drained it, let it drain down into there. And then to drain the pot, what I did, I basically just cut a section out of the hose right here, the connector. We've got new hoses with the new ones, so that allowed me to drip it straight down into there. Pretty much draining as much out as we can. And now I just got to figure out how to undo that, and then we'll get, oh there we go, we'll loosen that. Perfect. Alright, I'll get this replaced, put the new one in, connect it up. I'll try and catch it on video, and then we'll fill it back full of fluid, and then I'll let the fluid run back through the line till it's running out of here. Where are we? There. And then while it's dribbling a little bit from here, we'll just put it back in, tighten it up, fill the pot up, and then bleed the clutch. Probably needed. We'll see how it goes for that one. The brake will be similar, but definitely need bleeding. Let's get the clutch done. Alright guys, here we are, a couple of hours on. Pretty much spent the last couple of hours unbolting the master cylinder, taking out, undoing all the lines, just unbolting, removing master cylinder. I removed the two lines from the pots to the master cylinder because they basically are loose anyway once you take either side off. I gave them a quick buff up on a light buff on the wire wheel, cleaned the threads, put the new hoses on the ends of them right here, which will connect up to the pots. We also took the bracket out that the pots mount in. Sorry for the light here guys. Took the bracket out for the pots, cleaned that up, sandblasted it, gave it a coat of paint. That's why it's taken me a little while to get this done. And what else do we do? Just basically collected all the fluid. I think we got like 99% of it without it going all over the floor. Glad I did, and glad I am cleaning out these lines. The front pot and all the fluid coming out of the lines and stuff was kind of brown and yucky looking. And I also discovered one other thing. So these two pots here, when they're on the dash, they'll look at you like that. Your left hand one here has two outlets for two pots technically inside of here. There's an inner pot and an outer pot in the same pot. One for each line, one out of the bottom, one out of the bottom, one out of the side. And then this one's just a single pot. So what I discovered, thinking the single pot was just the clutch, it turns out the single pot alone is actually for your front brakes, and then the technically inside there's an inner pot, so the inner pot is actually your clutch, and the outer pot to the hose connection as opposed to the threaded connection is So the inner pot with the threaded connection coming directly out of the bottom, that is your clutch. And then your rear brakes are the rubber hose connection here on the side. Interesting. I thought the double one would have been the brakes. I'm happy to be wrong and learn new stuff every day. So so now it's just time to kind of poke the rubber hoses back onto these, connect these lines up, and then put some fluid in and start bleeding. So anyway, I won't bore you of the fumbling and up close quarters of just bolting this up to the dash and hooking the lines on. And we'll once I got this in, I'll catch you on the bleeding side. And once again, bleeding brakes, there's 10 ways to do everything, no different for bleeding brakes. I'm going to start off just with the gravity method, and we'll see what happens there. That'll get us at least pretty close with a little pump to finish off to get the last bit of air out. Let me get this in and then we'll start bleeding. Alright guys, horrible lighting again. So I got it all hooked up. She looks real pretty. We'll take some pictures. Here's a picture here. Boop. It's like jewelry, just like the new fuel tank. We got a new stainless steel fuel tank because the last one leaked. It's been a while. There's been a lot of stuff I've been tinkering on this. We're trying to work really hard to get it running good. Had a problem with the coil. Previous owner was running a 24 volts through a 12 volt coil, which took us a little while to figure that out. And then most recently we went through all the carbs, cleaned all the fuel lines and everything like that with replacing the tank. And then just this week the ignition switch was crapping out, which was making the engine run crap, and a whole bunch of things. So it's running much better now. We're slowly getting there. Alright, so let's put a little fluid in. We're going to start with the clutch, which is the middle pot inside of here. I'm going to put a little there because the line is not connected down on the master cylinder. Sorry, I think I said slave earlier in the clip. On the clutch master cylinder. Line's not hooked up. I just want to flush a little bit of that crap out. So I'll fill it up. I'll let it flow through the lines. Just flush a little bit of that lead crap out, and then I'll try and get the line hooked up without making too much of a mess down here. I got lots of rags on the floor. Let's go. Ooh, she's flowing fast. Is she ever? I think we got it started. Well, that definitely flushed the lines out, the guys. Alright, let's get rid of these rags. Let me neutralize this brake fluid down here, clean up, and I'll be right back, and we'll fill the pots and go through gravity feeding the brakes. Take two. Alright, so basically what I have set up down here is a trough that has all the old, the color of that brake fluid that came out of up there. So a couple of brake fluid collection containers down here, a little bit of aquarium air hose, which fits under the bleed screw up there, and then because that'll collect your brake fluid and stop it dribbling down over everything, making a real mess. That'll direct it to the container, and I think, because I just set it up, make sure this works, you basically just crack it open and see how that fluid is quite brown. So we're just going to let that slowly dribble down in the container, and then eventually a few bubbles will come through, and it'll go from brown liquid to more of a clear liquid, and then we know we got it. And then obviously check the brakes, for pressure, and then pressure bleed the last air out of the lines, and we should be good to go. And keep an eye on the level up in the reservoir, because we don't want that to go empty and then end up with no air back in the system. So I'll do that back and forth here, and then check back with you, and then move to the front. I'm just going to do the rears for now. It's the longest lines in their own separate system anyway, so just get the rears done, then move on to the fronts, and then we'll see how the brake pedal looks. Alright guys, so here we are, a couple of weeks later than the start of the video. Between a couple of things, forgetting to press record and just getting on and getting the job done, we've skipped to where we are now. In the last couple of weeks we've been up at the lake doing a bunch more and getting the roof closed in on the cabin up there. And we've been getting a bunch of stuff done on the 101 Patience. I did manage to get the 1/2-inch rubber mat put down in the back of her. We'll go out and take a look at some updates on a whole bunch of little stuff that we've done on Patience lately, including the dog box here. We've managed to kind of bash out and straighten up a bunch of stuff on her. The insulation and sound deadening. This pile of Who's Your Father came out from underneath here, and then ordered a bunch of product from a company called Noiko Solutions, and some of their red and I think green. I think the green is their noise barrier, and then their heat barrier is the red. And heat and sound insulation. So we've got tons of sound insulation because that thing is noisy, and the generator is really noisy, or alternator, whatever you want to call it. So we've nicely put 2 layers of this in. The heat shield, the noise shield is like a bitumen kind of tar stuff with a silver shield on one side, and you roll it down using their neat little roller. So I spent quite a lot of hours cleaning up underneath here, pulling that insulation off, cleaning all the glue off, getting it back to a nice finish, and then put down the noise shield, which is a thin layer. I think I put the thicker one of the two that you can get from them. Sorry, maybe in the descriptions below, just check if I put them down there. The 2 products that I got. And then the heat / noise shield, which is more of a... Anyway, if you can see, it's more of a foam material with a sticky one side. Comes in a sheet, 20 by 11 or something like that. And you basically just stick it down using the roller again. Roll it down tight. And this is what it looks like in there. It looks way nicer than that other stuff which was falling off and everything else. We've got a couple of layers of the heat and sound shield up front. I had a couple of extra sheets, which I should have used on the piece that fits on the back of here. If you know 101s, there's another little short panel on the back of the dog box. But anyway, I'll have to get more of both of these in. I can use it on Ivy as well as a few extra spots on the 101. But this should certainly keep the heat down in the cab, because they can get quite hot in the cab in the summer, as well as keeping the noise down, especially from that generator, which I got the generator put in to get rebuilt and tested, and rebuilt meaning new bearings front and back, which was extremely expensive, more than I thought it should be. Considering I even supplied one of the bearings. And then when I got it back here and I put it in, the charging light was still on, so I took it back. They argued, which was fair point that the thing is charging and working properly, and I said, well, I still got a charging light on the dash, to which they spent more time investigating and surprisingly found that even though the not serial numbers, but the part numbers are the same between the spare one I had and the one that was in the truck. I took my spare one in to get rebuilt. Anyway, it didn't work after they rebuilt it, and so now they've discovered that the insides are different, and different diodes and high output and low outputs or whatever. Unfortunately, it's a little above my my pay grade, understanding all the intricacies of the electronics and that. Even though they're supposed to be the same, he said they're different, and he can rebuild it again with all the right stuff in there to work how it should be. And it's going to cost me a chunk more money. I don't know. I don't know if I feel taken or if he's got a valid point or what's going on, but kind of got to get it working now anyway. So in for a penny, in for a few pounds. So yeah, looking forward to getting this in with all the sound deadening and heat deadening. And this is going to be pretty much, I think, the last episode of the 101 for this year. The 101 in the next week or two, when I go back up to the lake next, she will be up there for the winter. Because it's really cold and really dry up there. Which reminds me, I got to check the radiator fluid to make sure it's good enough for -40, -50. Because even just the last week we've had rain here, and the soft top, the canvas top in the 101 already looks like it might be starting to gain a little growth, which is pretty annoying because it's only been raining for a week, and up to that it's been really dry here all summer. So anyway, we'll get it up there, store it for the winter, because I don't have room here in the winter, and it's wet and cold and miserable and dank, and yeah, not good for any car being left outside through that, especially ones you don't want to deteriorate and rust anymore. Anyway, rambling on. So once I get the generator back, we'll put this in. Let me come around, grab the camera. We'll do a quick walk around. I don't think you guys have even seen the new color. But I will be working on stuff. I think the side panels, I'm going to put new seals on the bottom of them, and I've got all the seals for the doors, so I might be doing something with the doors, putting new window tracks in. But I can do all that over the winter where they're stored up there. I can bring the bits back down here and work in the shop on all those little bits. So still kind of working towards that for the spring, as well as collecting and setting up all the camping gear to set her up for camping, because that's really what I want to do with the 101. Patience is go out and do a bunch of like weekend getaway camping. Looking forward to that. And I think most of those camping videos are going to be on my other channel, Camp Cracker Tinny. Links below to that YouTube channel, and I think Facebook page, if you want to follow along with that stuff too, and the explorations that I do, visiting old homesteads and cabins and all the work we do at the cabin. I've stopped putting them on this website, on this YouTube channel. Okay, let's go out, do one last walk around, and wrap up the 101 basically for this year. And then we're back to Ivy. I'm super pumped. I have at hand here somewhere right there a pile of stuff to get the grill inside rebuilt for the radiator. I really want to get her kicked over and get a broom broom out of her for Christmas. I think I said that last year, or spring last year. But this year I think we can do it, because we really just have to hook stuff up to get her to go broom broom. Alright, and I think we're getting closer to the fuel tank for Ivy too. More to come on that. Alright, let's go for a walk around the Patience, the 101, for an update what happened there. Alrighty guys, there she is in her new color. Camp Cracker Tinny blue. So we also had to get a stainless steel tank sent in from the UK, which is now in there and not leaking. Alright, quick walk around the top. If anyone knows how to play around with these, I can't quite get the top tucked in, pulled forwards here. Anyway, we'll keep working on that. Seats are working out good and comfortable. Got to put the generator back in. There's the pots set up from the start of this video. Alright, what else have we got? Alright. Today I also put in new clips for the grill. As you see, registration, insurance, we are good to drive, and we have done a ton of driving in this for a few weeks there. Oh, there we go. The master cylinder, pots. Okay, so here we go in the back here. This is the stuff I used for the floor. It's basically a 1/2 inch solid rubber mat or stall mat for the agricultural people. Tucked in everywhere. You can see the seam across the middle. Cut out there. Now this mat has made a big difference to the sound barrier of making it a lot more quieter to drive around, which is awesome. Not much new in here. We've got a little tool bag that fits nicely inside of that compartment over there now, and straighten this panel out here. And other than that, that's about it. I feel like I've been doing tons of stuff on this, with a generator 2 or 3 times in and out, I guess. Brakes, got them all adjusted up. Yeah, I think in the back here we are probably going to have it set up so we'll have 2 mattresses pretty much filling the whole width for camping. One will be a 38-inch wide mattress, which is a single, I think, and then a skinny single, I think it's called, a narrow single, which is 30 inches, which is exact width between both sides, 68. So that way I can run the single mattress if I'm on my own camping, and then install the plywood floor on the other side if I've got someone else camping with me, and then put the 30-inch wide mattress over there, sitting on large pieces of plywood, matching the width of both of the mattresses, and then a cooler back here, and then whatever else we're going to put in here. We'll figure out a system in the spring. Do a little collecting of some stuff over the winter. I think I'm going to, one of those Scottle, I think it is, round barbecues. I think I'm going to try one of them and then store it inside the spare there, and it can travel in there. Anyway, so enough ramblings on. There we have a walk around update. I'm sure there's more that I haven't mentioned of little stuff I've been tinkering and getting done on here. So until the next video, which will be on my other channel, Camp Cracker Tinny, and then the next video on this channel, we're back on Ivy. Let's get that radiator set up and mounted on the front of it. I'm still looking for fenders. I really need, if anyone out there willing to pay from the UK as well, I'm really looking for nice Series 2, Series 3 fender tops. I just need the tops. So if you got some beat up fenders that are beat up on the outside but lower, I don't mind if we chop the unbolt or chop the outers off, chop the inners off, so just so I got that top section, because I have fronts and I have inners, Defender inners, and I have Defender outer. I just need a Series 2, Series 3 top, so I can build like a custom assembled fender for Ivy. So your help would be really good there, even if you're in the UK, willing to pay for shipping. I've been looking for a long time for these, and it's been a struggle, because you can buy all the other bits, just not the tops. Alright, thanks very much. Remember to hit that appreciation button below there, and we'll see you on the next one.